You're listening to the Recovered Life Show, the show that helps people in recovery live their best recovered lives. And here is your host, Damon Frank.
Welcome back to another episode of Recovered Life. I am joined by life and recovery strategist George Snyder. How you doing, George?
Good to see you, Damon. All is good.
Really great to see you. Our topic today, and what I want to talk with you about, is actually pretty serious, though. It is hard times in recovery. And I know, I just want to say up front, we're still in COVID. If you're in California, you've been going through multiple lockdowns. A lot of the people that we know, George, have lost their jobs. Their housing is precarious. They've lost a lot of money that they've had. Relationships have been strained. And I want to talk with you about your advice and what you talk with your clients about and how you deal with hard times.
Well, of course, it sounds like we're talking about a Charles Dickens novel. And I think it's to remember the Dickens novels that we all think of are full of joy in life, full of love and happiness, and terrible circumstances, terrible poverty, terrible suffering. So it's always everything, right? And I think the big piece for me is to remember that fear is a magnet. Absolutely is a magnet, and will pull in whatever you're focused on. So to not let the fear overwhelm, to realize, and how do we stay out of that fear, Damon? We've talked about it. It's gratitude, getting focused on what you want more of. You don't want more of the fear. Fear is just going to pull in all those things you're afraid of. Just pulls them in. How can you be focused on the good?
I think you've really tapped into something here. And I have to be honest, after years of being in recovery, when people say, well, be grateful, I immediately were like, come on, that's just too simple. And you talked about something else, which was fear as like an energy. And I'm a really big believer in a lot of recovery has to do with your emotional state and the energy that you're putting out and the energy that you're residing in, right? And fear is a very low, dark energy that creates doubt and worry, right? And gratitude is a way higher energy. So just the fact that you are in the state of gratitude means that you have lifted your vibrational energy up, so you're no longer in the fear energy.
Right. It's about changing your energy. Now, a gratitude that's just a list. I'm grateful for my house. I'm grateful for my friends. I'm grateful for something that becomes a rote exercise. I'm not sure how powerful that is. I think gratitude is, what am I focused on? What I'm focused on is what I care about. And if you're focused on fear, obviously you care about fear. And you know what? You'll get more of it. You get more of where you go, where you look. They talked to a friend of mine told about a race car driver who did the Grand Prix. When you're driving that fast, you and the vehicle are one. And they said, how do you do it? He said, well, you go where you look. If I look away from them, I'm going to go there. It's just your hands, everything. And it's a lesson for life. You go where you look. You're going to look at that. It doesn't mean that we ignore the possibility that things are serious or there's something to be concerned about, but to focus on it. And that's what I think gratitude helps us do, right, Damon? Yeah. Focus on it. We shift our perspective from the disaster or anticipation of disaster, and what do I want to be focused on? What can I do? Which is, again, what we really want to be, right?
I think you've said a lot there, because, in my work, I do a lot of high performance coaching with people. People are doing, they're high performance people. And one of the things that I've noticed is that when you're stuck in fear, all you're able to see is fear, right? So that's what pops up. So when people say hard times, wow, it's hard times. I always say that people buy people, but people buy the stories that people tell. And we're our favorite people ourselves. We listen to ourselves more than we listen to everybody else, right? So when we're telling ourselves the story and trying to prove this story, well, it's hard times because I just got my hours cut, or I got laid off, or they're going to repossess my car. We're building the story and we're enrolling ourselves in the story. And we just as easily could say, and I find this with high performance people, is just shifting the perspective and saying, I am looking out for all the amazing things that are happening in my life. I'm looking out for oh my God, look, that's prosperity. Like, I had no idea that clean shirt was in the thing. Wow, look, it's proof, right? You can tell yourself any story that you want to tell. But if the story is hard times, what you get is hard times.
Exactly. Well, you're going to find whatever you seek to look for, you're going to find. You find what you're looking for. And I think that people say, oh, well, I'm a realist. I'm not a Pollyanna. Well, okay, well, that's good for you. But you're constantly, as you're telling your story through the day and making observations about the world, you're constantly getting people to affirm it. And how many people have said to me, oh, I just can't lose that 20 pounds. And what am I supposed to say? I say, well, that's too bad. Guess so. Guess not.
Yeah.
They're getting a complete stranger, someone who doesn't really know them very well, to affirm something that they don't really want. Why would you do that? But, I don't want to be a Pollyanna and I don't want to act as if things are fine. Well, why not? Because I'd rather have I say, it's going to be a great day. And what are people going to say to me? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Well, and many times right here, right now, it is a good day. Right. And right here, right now, everything is absolutely fine. It's the thought of what's going to happen. What are people going to think? What is my significant other going to think if I find out that, that client's gone, or whatever that story is in your head. You typically right here, right now, everybody's okay.
Right. And if we truly want to be a realist, as I've been told, which is often an excuse for being negative, but I've gotten jobs when nobody could get jobs. Mm-hmm. And I have not been able to get arrested when everybody else was flowing in abundance. There have been ups and downs, and I have done very well in those, and I've done very poorly in them, and unrelated to what was happening around me. So clearly, the world is full of everything. It's full of success and failure. The Depression was a terrible time, and a lot of people suffered. And you know what? A lot of other people made a lot of money, did very well.
Yep.
The Wall Street crash of 1929 made paupers, or made people believe they were paupers. But it also people did very well during those times. So it's says who is always a useful for me question to ask when I start saying, well, this is a bad day, or this isn't going to work. Really? Says who?
Yeah.
Is it my perception that I will then get someone else to affirm? Really?
Yeah. And this is the thing that we hear a lot of when we hear in recovery. A lot of people will say, well, don't do that. Don't think positively because you're magically thinking. That's not magical thinking, right? You have to be able to see it and envision it. Now, one thing that I've gotten from high performance people and having the opportunity to coach a lot of different types of people is that the way in which they frame the conversation, and that leads them open to being able to see all the good things that are happening, changes that vibrational energy. So when you're looking for the job, when you're looking for that opportunity, people that are high achievers want to be around other people who are vibrating at that level. They don't want to be around people that it can't be done people. They don't. So if you're constantly having people show up in your life that are low performance people, non-achievers, very negative, people that bring you down, you have to ask yourself, why am I attracting these people?
Because everything is contagious.
Yes.
Everything. So whoever you're hanging out with, you're going to get what they have. So you might want to think about who you're hanging out with. Somebody said, a journalist said, took Thomas Edison 1,000 tries, 1,000 experiments to get a light bulb that worked. And a journalist said to Edison, they said, wow, you failed 1,000 times. How was that? How'd that feel? And Edison said, well, I didn't fail. There are 1,000 steps to making a light bulb. Mm-hmm. It's perspective. And that's the greatest gift. One of the greatest gifts, Damon, what we get in recovery is, how do you want to look at it? How do you want, can you change your perspective? Is it 1,000 failures? That's depressing.
Yeah.
Or was it 1,000 exercises of experiments that led to the thing you wanted? Wow. Okay. It took 1,000 steps. Fantastic.
Well, I will tell you, you coach me on some things, and you changed my perspective, I would say about 2% in one way. And all of a sudden what happened is things started to open up for me, and I became more self-aware of who I was. So I think when you can change your perspective, sometimes just a little, what happens is your self-awareness really increases.
Right. It's Michael Jordan lost 26 games. Lost 26 games.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't think of himself as a failure.
No, exactly. This has been great lessons, hard times. If you guys right now are in hard times and you're struggling, hang in there, think positive, and, join the conversation. recoveredlife.us. We've got a lot of positive people there, and they're not magical thinkers. They're actually doers, right? They're there commenting. You want what they have. These are the top of the top people, the people that you want to surround yourself in recovery, and we hope to continue that conversation there. Thanks a lot, George.
Thanks, you.
Keep the conversation going. Join Recovered Life, a community of like-minded people who are looking to live their best recovered lives. Membership is free, and you can apply at recoveredlife.us.